let me tell you something about Ron Van Dam. He is not afraid to voice a controversial opinion now and then.
If you're eating 4 donuts for breakfast, you're probably eating a dozen donuts for lunch.
Whoa, slow it down, Radio Rebel. Don't burn it out all at once. You wild man. You are listening to The Ron Van Dam Show on New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's The Ron Van Dam Show.
Yeah, what's your point?
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
All right. Welcome to the program. It is the Ron Van Dam Show. I have no way of denying that. Hey, thank you for coming over. Appreciate it. Thanks for bringing a pie. I love that. You know, when people go to people's houses, not that you should do that, they usually bring a bottle of wine. I bring a pie, because I have a lot of pies that I don't want to eat. Anytime somebody brings food over to your house, it's because they don't want to eat it. If they did, they wouldn't have any food left over to bring over to your house. I don't like to eat other people's foods. I don't know where they've been. I don't know what they've been touching. It's like lying on a bed sheet there on a comforter in a hotel. I don't know what they were doing on that comforter. Why would I roll naked on it? You know what I'm saying? It's the same with food. They bring over stuff, you know, here, you want to try some of my lasagna? No, I don't. Somebody touched that already. You touched it with your hands. Ew. Oh, if I knew what went on in kitchens and restaurants, I'd never eat in a restaurant again. And I'm thinking about that. I live in Massachusetts, and they've just allowed outdoor dining, and now indoor dining, you know, and I never got the outdoor dining idea. It's like 90 degrees here. Why would I want to sit outside in a parking lot and eat a hamburger? It's never been a dream of mine. Hey, Ron, do you like hamburgers? Yeah, I do. How about this? How about if we set up a chair in the parking lot and you can eat the hamburger on the hot asphalt in the parking lot? Oh, can I? What a wonderful dining experience that would be. But I do want to help out the restaurants, so I do, every once in a while, have a hamburger while I'm sitting in the middle of a parking lot. I'll do anything to help out, I guess. Not only that, but I'm supposed to call up a friend and ask them to eat a hamburger in the parking lot with me. Oh, Ron, can we go right away? I can't wait to eat in the parking lot. Yeah, come on. Anyway, I am, of course, I'm insensitive. Actually, I'm the most sensitive person you'll ever meet. Thank you very much. It's your personality that I question. Welcome to the program. I'm Ron Van Dam. This is the Ron Van Dam Show. I'm the one in the middle. Make yourself comfortable. For the next period of time, I will entertain you like a puppet on a string. I will do your every bidding. Except for that. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't do that. I don't do that. I've been asked to do that, but I won't do it. To find out what I'm talking about, that would be an extra charge for the subscription to listen to the show and find out what I'm really talking about, and that's an extra $12,000. And I know you don't have it, so don't even go there. Hey, where's Paula Deen? Remember her? Oh my God, she was the poster child for racism. Do you remember that? What happened to Paula Deen? Hey, Paula, how come we're not hearing from you now? Huh? Paula Deen was ostracized just like an ostrich because she was having a party in her southern home mansion thing, and she had people wear blackface and as servants, and it was like just unbelievably racist. She's made racist comments. She tells jokes that are racist. She was just a horrible, despicable human being, and I use that term loosely in her case. And she was ostracized. She was kicked off of the Food Network. And all she was good for was showing us recipes that involve lard and sticks of butter. I mean, this woman was on a kick to get the American population fat and obese, and like her. So she was kicked off the air, ostracized, lost her career. That was the end of her because she was quite racist. That was before this whole protest thing started. Then she came back a few years later in television commercials. She was doing recipes and cookware, Paula Deen cookware. And I said to myself, why is this woman resurfacing? Is it because the American public is so stupid that after a period of time they forget all the horrible things that you've done? I don't recall her apologizing or anything like that. So she comes back and she's selling cookware on these shopping networks, and I found her to be despicable. She lost some weight, I guess because she had nothing else to do but lose it. And then, the racist things happened in this country. Well, they always had, but now people are starting to speak up about it and changing the environment, actually changing the environment. Fantastic. And I say to myself, where's Paula Deen? She's probably packed a suitcase and gone to Mars because she probably wouldn't be that popular right now. That's like Jared from Subway showing up at a child abuse rally. I mean, whatever happened to Jared, the Subway kid? Remember him? He was a guy who was a poster child for Subway. He was in all the commercials, and he was a fat slob, and he ate Subway subs every single day. And after a period of time, he lost the weight, and he started looking really good. Still an ugly fuck, but his weight-wise, he started looking good. So Subway said to themselves, maybe we can promote Subway as a weight loss system. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't at the meeting, but that's apparently the direction they went with their campaign. So they had this Jared, who is now skinny, talking about eating turkey subs at Subway. Eat fresh. And, of course, fresh would be keeping the vegetables out on the counter all day. Now, Subway's very popular, more popular than I am, so I really shouldn't say anything about them. Anyway, so Jared's a spokesperson. Then you find out years later that Jared actually was soliciting young boys and young children for sexual purposes, which, of course, is not exactly acceptable in our society. So Jared was kicked out of the Subway commercials and ostracized, and I haven't heard from him since. Good move, Subway. That worked out, didn't it? Well, apparently, I guess eventually it did. I don't know. I have no idea. As I've said before, I always got confused with that debacle there with the Jared at Subway. There's a jewelry store chain called Jared's. And I thought immediately, these people got to change their names. Why would I go to a jewelry store and the supposed character is a child molester? And well, no, that's a different Jared's. There was no connection. Yeah, but change your name anyway. Jared. How many people are named Jared to begin with? Seriously, do you know any Jareds? No, neither do I. If you knew one, would you associate with that person? No, neither would I. If I knew somebody by Jared, I could never call them by name. I would just feel silly. If he doesn't feel silly about having that name, I'd feel silly about saying his name. So I don't do Jared's. not into that name, man. Isn't it funny? Names are funny, huh? They're just name tags. They have nothing to do with us. They're just like, it's what you call somebody to pick them out from the crowd is really all it is. The parents named them. They have nothing to do with it. The people that are named these things, they didn't participate. They weren't infants, and the parents said, I know you can't talk. I know you can't hear me. Let's choose a name. No, the parents chose the name for them, and then they're stuck with this name for the rest of their life. A few bold people changed their names, but not too many. Certainly not their first name. You're stuck with that for life. And parents, when you name your kid, first of all, don't have kids. Secondly, if you're going to have a kid and you name your kid, choose a name that isn't going to embarrass them and get them beat up in school. Seriously, man. Some of the names are like, whoa. They don't even, you can't even put letters together to come up with some of these pronunciations. I mean, seriously, give them a simple, effective name, and names that show strength and resilience and fortitude. Don't give them stupid names. They have to live with that, man. Well, they're going to wear a suit of armor to school every day so they don't get beat the crap out of them by, you got to think in the future for these poor kids. Some of these names, they're cutesy-wootsy from the parents, but, you're labeling your child for the rest of his or her life. Oh, my God. But a name's just a name. I hate name tags. I can't stand name tags. I used to go to business meetings and things like that, political things and, all that, and media things, We used to wear little name tags, with my name and under it, like, the radio station I was with or the television station or my own company. And you go to these mixers and you walk up to people at mixers, and they're called mixers. There's just people milling around who don't know each other. And the first, when you see somebody and you start talking to them, the first thing you do is you stare at their name tag so you can refer to them by name. But that was always a problem because the women would always wear the name tag down around their left breast, and so my first connection to any female at a cocktail mixer was staring at their breast, just to get their name. I swear that was the only reason. But that's not a good way to start out a conversation. Yeah, could you just move your left breast a little bit to the side? I'm having trouble seeing your name. There you go. Hilda. Yeah, it was terrible. I was terrible at mixers. So then they started getting really cheap at some of these mixers, and instead of having those pin-on name tags, with the little clamp and it goes on the pocket just above the left boob or directly on it, they started coming up with this adhesive stuff. They were just pieces of paper, and you'd peel them off, and there'd be adhesive on the back, and you'd stick that on your clothes. And the really cheap ones would stay on the material. It would stick to the material, and you'd have adhesive on your jacket or on your clothing. And I had to throw clothing out because of that adhesive. I should have started lawsuits at like Monsanto or something. Roundup weed killer. The Bayer Company, which is a German manufacturing company, which is they have a division called Monsanto, I believe, and they make the Roundup weed killer, and apparently it causes cancer in people. It'll kill your weeds and the people too. Well, at least the weeds are killed, yes, but you wiped out a whole civilization also, so that probably wasn't a good idea. So they have to pay billions of dollars in restitution. I can say the word restitution, but to spell it, I would have to look it up. You go into a store, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, an Ace Hardware. I've run out of names of hardware stores, to be honest with you. And on the shelf, there's Roundup Weed Killer, and I can't figure that out. I just can't. It's like the Johnson & Johnson talcum powder. It's still on the shelf. Maybe not now, but I think it was yesterday. I don't get it. I just don't understand. I'm missing something. I don't know what it is I'm missing. I don't get it. Anyway, welcome to the program. You take it easy. Oh, man, there's just so much to be pissed about, right? I don't have enough time in the day to complain to you. And I certainly don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear the complaining from you. It's bad enough I got to hear it from myself. So, I don't want to complain. But my guest today is basically saying, what's up with Congress? Like, what's going on with our political parties and the fact that nothing gets done in our country because of this political childishness, these political tantrums that go on by the two political parties and then the White House as well. And we're just sitting here like, hey, remember us? We are the people you're supposed to be representing and doing things for. Remember us while you having your little hissy fits back and forth, acting like little children. Remember us. And yet, we just sit here going, well, things are terrible, but I guess that's the way it is. This person says, no, you can change the rules on any level, and enough of this crap. I mean, if we're going to stand up against racism and sexism, we should be standing up against people in Washington that are infantilism. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Sure, you can vote them out of office, and we should. You've got to vote because you got to get them out. But at the same time, to replace them by other idiots doesn't really make any sense either. So what do? Well, our guest is going to tell us what we can do about that. Okay, fine. Are you happy now? All right, good. Could you not sit like that first of all, please? I can see you. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I can see you. And could you not spread your legs like that, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. That was annoying me. I didn't want to say anything, but I had to because it's just not right. It's just not right. We'll be right back after these words with our guest.
Gentlemen, you know that when you decide to get engaged, you'll be making one of the most important investments of your life. Think about it. From the moment you get down on bended knee and present the ring, how much you actually love someone will be judged solely on the size of the stone you buy. And not just by the one you love, but by literally everyone she knows. And strangers. At Schlickerscheck Jewelers, we know that when you're about to cough up what amounts to a few months' rent to obtain the exclusive naming rights to a vagina, you want to be able to be sure that you've made the best choice. So if you've decided it's time to staple gun your man tackle to a single hitching post and to never be able to experience the simple joy of a meaningless hookup without handing over half your stuff, come to Schlickerscheck Jewelers and see our amazing line of certified high-quality shallow female ego strokers. Take it from me, Herbert Schlickerscheck. I'm not just your local jeweler. I've been married 6.5 times. Vegas marriages, boys. Very easy to annul when the shrew goes south on you. And she will.
Katherine Gehl is here. She's one of the authors of The Politics Industry, How Political Innovation Can Break Partisan Gridlock and Save Our Democracy. Thank you for writing this book. This is pretty good because I don't know the answer to that problem. I assume you do. What got you to this point to write this book?
I think my story is similar to probably a story that many of your listeners have, as in looking at politics and saying, how could it be this screwed up in America? Yeah. And then, because I was running a company and thinking all the time about competition, I made a connection between how we run our companies and serve our customers and how politics runs their business and doesn't serve their customers.
Interesting.
So essentially, in my business and in everybody's job who's listening to this, we have to do our jobs well in order to keep our jobs, in order to advance, make products my customers want. Otherwise, they're going to buy from someone else. And yet somehow in politics, they don't have to do that. they keep their jobs even when we're dissatisfied.
Yeah.
And if we are dissatisfied, we don't have any other choices.
Correct.
Except for, these two. And usually, even if, let's say we're a Republican,
Mm-hmm.
if we're dissatisfied with what they're delivering, that doesn't make us a Democrat. So we still keep choosing sort of our side, and yet, they're not solving our problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a shame there's not more than two parties.
It is absolutely a shame that there's not more than two parties. I totally agree with you. What's interesting, though, it's not that sort of there's a perfect number of parties. Two parties would be fine if their incentives were to do what needs doing, to solve our problems. So what we really need is not a specific number of parties. We need the threat that a new party could take over their market share.
There you go.
Could push them out if they don't do their job. So it's less that there's just two. It's more that those two are guaranteed in the current system to continue being the only two, no matter how badly they do their job.
Well, that's true, but it's also money. He who has the most survives, and that's how our country runs in every sense of the word. And unfortunately, that just filters right into politics to the point where you can indeed buy elections, except for the prior mayor of New York. That didn't work out for Bloomberg, but otherwise,
money's a big problem as well, and it fits into this whole system, which is the way the system's designed right now. Not only can the parties keep being the only two, even if the public is 90% dissatisfied, but they don't have to worry about the public, the people who vote, because there's no other choices, so they can pay attention to the money.
Right.
Which is to say, money is more important currency in politics than the currency of vote.
Yeah.
And so in what we write about in our book, Ron, we show how changing how we vote would create the situation where votes become more important than money.
Correct.
And where we get accountability, which is to say, and we have a situation where new competitors could come in, new parties could come in, new candidates that we would get to choose from if we don't like the current ones.
Correct.
And that will force improvement. That's how, I like to call it free market politics.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's so frustrating that it's almost, to some people, it's actually futile. And I get this argument all the time where it doesn't matter anymore. They're both corrupt. And when you start getting into that area, then we're really getting off the mark entirely. But that's the thought of a lot of people. They're both corrupt. They're both no good. So what's the point?
I think that a lot of people have that thought because they have an intuition that, yes, they are not doing the job, that both of them are caring about things other than solving problems. And so what I say to those people and what we say in our book is, great, if you feel that way, then worry less about the current elections, although they're always important, but put some focus on the system itself, like the rules of the game that created that. And if all of us turn to focus a little bit away from the drama and the reality TV show aspect of all of politics and a little on the rules, then we could change these rules, and that would force the players to play differently. Like in Monopoly, you change the rules, you would make different choices. You got to change the rules in politics.
Yeah, the impeachment was a weird example of that because it was being done by the rules for obvious reasons, and yet the outcome was so politically snuffed out like a cigarette that even there, I mean, something as important and as crucial, one of our great safeguards to our democracy was being exercised, and yet Most people don't even remember that took place, and it wasn't all that long ago. And all right, a title got slapped on the guy, and that's about it. It seems like the impact of things has just been totally snuffed away.
Right, because it's just a constant fight.
Yes.
So someone said to me the other day, they like the fight more than they like the fix.
Yeah, probably.
And so when we just have fight after fight after fight for the purpose of winning the election, not for actually solving, they're always incented to look for the new fight for the new news cycle. But again, if we change the rules, which I'd love to talk about, then you can force them to have to do different things.
Well, that's true, but the rules can't be changed if there's a sitting political party. Those rules won't be changed if it affects the political party that you're sitting in negatively. So,
let me break right in here because that is totally key. So, basically, our book is only about things that are doable and worth doing.
Oh, good. Okay.
So our book is not a theory. Our book is not, wouldn't it be great if the rules were this and then things would be different. Yeah. Our book is only about rules we can change. So super interesting. Again, what we need to do is change how we vote.
Yep.
And the rules about voting for Congress are delegated by the Constitution to the state. So every state can change these rules individually, and in half of the states, they don't even need the say-so of any politician.
Really?
Half the states have direct democracy, so you can put a quote-unquote a question on the ballot. So in November, people would go to the ballot and they would vote for the candidates, and then after that, what we call the solution is something we call final five voting. It would be, do you vote yes on final five voting or no on final five voting? And in those half of the states, if the people vote yes, the rules are changed. It's extraordinary that the most powerful thing we can do is actually something that we can do.
True.
Because people are always looking for the constitutional amendment, and, unless you want to sort of found an organization that's going to exist, for your great-grandchildren, you shouldn't be looking at constitutional amendments. So we don't propose anything like that. We propose final five voting. We can do it now. Yeah. And we can even do it in states where the politicians are in charge, meaning the legislature has to change the law, because we're just going to change it for Congress. And one thing people agree on across the ideological spectrum is that Congress and Washington, D.C. are broken.
No question. This is a very interesting time because I can't remember a time in my life where people were so hopped up about this subject and about how the country is run and what's going on with everything. I mean, people are actually speaking up. They're in the streets. That hasn't happened for a long time. I think this is an actual turning point if you stick to your deal. If you stick to it and keep it going. I think some of these people are running scared who are in the establishment and starting to say, this isn't going to work anymore. I can't do the smoke and mirrors anymore. They're on to us.
Right. Yeah. And the public is on to them. And, I'm so happy to be talking to you today, because the other message then we need to get out to the public is you always need to care about who's running and the candidates and what they're doing. But we also need to care about these rules.
Yes.
So let's take some of this energy and change the rules so that we don't just find ourselves here for the next thing, 10 years from now or something. Let's finally go to the core of the problem, which is that the parties actually, that we call it the political industrial complex, they're actually thriving. There's a lot of money in that industry.
Yeah, sure is.
It's gotten bigger and bigger.
Sure is.
And actually the media does better, for example, when there's a lot of drama and a lot of fight.
No question.
So there's all these incentives to keep dividing us and actually to not solve problems. Because if we solved a problem, guess what? Maybe you couldn't turn out your base on that problem.
You're right. It's a feeding machine. Everything feeds into something else. Yep.
But all we have to do is change the rules of how we vote with Final Five voting, and then we alter the key incentive.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get elected if you're dividing and not solving things, well, no matter if that makes for good TV, you're probably going to solve some things because you'd like to get reelected. Whereas right now, the best way to get reelected is not solve things.
Right.
That's crazy.
Is it in England where there's votes of no confidence and you can just like hold another election because things are screwed up and they're not doing what they were supposed to do? I mean, I don't know if it's that simple, but we seem to be missing that part of it.
I mean, that's the parliamentary, way, and we don't have that here, so that's not our option.
Yeah.
But we have an option at the ballot box every 2 years for Congress.
True.
And we can use that if we change these rules. Yeah.
Every 2 months would be better, I guess, although that'd be crazy. It's the politics industry, which it indeed is. I mean, just the title of the book is enough to make you say, yeah, that is what it is. Finally, somebody's saying that. The book's available everywhere already?
The book is available everywhere.
Okay.
So local bookstores and online. And we encourage you to buy one for you and one for your friend.
There you go, Katherine
Because
Gehl.
of what's at stake. Actually, we're putting all the proceeds back into the work, not into our pockets, but into a not-for-profit that works for the changes.
Okay. Katherine Gehl and also Michael Porter are the authors of this book. A website, please?
Yes, GehlPorter.com. So my last name, Gehl. Porter, PORTER.com.
Well done. Hey, pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Let's make the change.
You got it.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. There you have it for today. I'm out of time and I'm out of money. I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new show on Friday. Ooh, special. I hope you join me then. Until then, I wish you peace.